7 o'clock on March 1st. My name is William McCarthy. I'm the Vice Chair and Acting Chairman for this meeting of the ZBA. I will call this meeting to order. To my right is Beth McCartney, a permanent member of the board. Ms. Sandy Stewart, who's the clerk and staff to the board. Mr. Matthew Cole to my immediate left, to Mr. Peter Jablin to my far left. We have 3 cases this evening, and Mr. Cole will have to recuse himself from the first of the 3, and then he'll rejoin us after that one is over. Michael, can you hear okay?
Yes, I can.
Great. Perfect. In that case, I'll call the first of our 3 cases this evening, which is case number 2046. It is the application of Carolyn B. Dowd, who's applied for a special permit as set forth in Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 6, under Orleans Zoning Bylaw, Section 164-21, parens A, and 164-21, parens B, to add a dormer on a pre-existing garage, which is non-conforming with respect to side yard setback and separation of buildings intended for human habitation. The property is located at 175 Tonsett Road, Orleans map number 27, parcel number 58. If I may at the beginning ask if, I should say, are any members of the board disqualified by reasons of a conflict of interest prohibited by law?
Nope.
Hearing none, have any of the members of the board communicated with the applicant or any interested parties? Hearing none, we will proceed on this matter. Voting, I guess we should state up front, Mr. Zinder, we've been down this road before, but yes, we have only 4 members present to hear this matter, and as you're aware, you need 4 votes in the affirmative to pass, and I'm assuming you're going to want to ask me a question up front procedurally?
I would, and thank you, all members. My name is Ben Zunder, and with me is Carolyn Dowd, who's the property owner, and I would ask that if at the end of the presentation and the board's deliberations, if the chair would be willing to poll the board to see how they feel about the issuance of a special permit, and at that point I would like to reserve possibly a request to either continue the matter or withdraw the matter based on the board's position.
Okay, that's fair enough. With that, why don't you introduce yourself and your client and tell us.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. McCarthy, and hello, Mr. Marnick.
Hello, Mr. Zenda.
This is an application for a special permit to add dwelling space to the top of a garage structure at the property at 175 Tonsett Road. And Carolyn owns the property. And in your package, there's a plan from Ryder and Wilcox that I think best describes. It's towards the end of the package, and it best describes what is on the ground. This property has a somewhat unusual procedural history. There used to be a dwelling in the top of the garage, and at an earlier point, Ms. Dowd and her husband moved an old cottage onto the property, and as a result of moving that cottage onto the property, they were required by the building inspector to discontinue the residential dwelling use of the garage structure. And so they did. They removed the kitchen and removed the dwelling use, but the structure has remained. What she would like to do now is to put some living space up there, not a separate dwelling, but to put some living space up there. But because the garage is not conforming as to sideline requirements, and it would create a residential structure, she needs a special permit to alter the pre-existing non-conforming structure and to add that use. The garage structure is approximately 10.2 feet from the north lot line. And then and the distance between the house is 13.5 feet, and between residential structures you have to have 50 feet. So, and it's already non-conforming as to the distance between the structures. The proposal is the only change to the structure that's proposed, and you have a set of plans that's here. The only proposal that is anticipated is the construction of a small dormer And if you look at there's a little tiny dormer right here. That's the only change in the structure that's proposed. I don't know if you all can see this. It's a small dormer that would just give you some headroom on the second floor of the existing L structure on the garage. So the proposal is to add a small dormer that would give you some headroom, and that headroom would provide better access to a bathroom on that second floor, which is shown on the first page of your construction drawings. So the garage structure is there, the second floor structure is there, the L structure is there, but the addition of that small dormer would give you some headroom on the bathroom itself. And so that is essentially the presentation that we're making. It won't make any visual change to the neighborhood other than that dormer. The ability to use that as some living space above the garage would provide some benefit to Ms. Dowd and her family. It wouldn't create the addition of a second dwelling. It wouldn't in any meaningful way change the use of the property. The property is 2.01 acres. It's fairly large, has 150 feet of frontage on Tonsett Road, and the garage and the house are fairly well set back from Tonsett Road. So we're hopeful that you'll look favorably upon the application, and we'll answer any questions that we can. And thank you.
Could I, before I turn it over to my colleagues, I just ask you, the building adjacent to the garage structure, I couldn't quite see it. I didn't drive down the side road, but
Right.
If you just tell us a little bit about, is that the one where the distance issue comes?
Yeah,
up?
well, your code requires, I believe it's, hold on one second, I've got it in my memo. The building inspector's right behind me, but I've got it right in my memo. There's a requirement of distance between residential structures. Right now, that is. Bear with me one second.
Formula based on height?
No, that's, in coastal banks is a formula based on heights. But it's, right now, the,
You know the answer?
yeah, I don't have it right in front of me. The building inspector may know it, but
I would-
in any event, we're not changing that setback requirement.
Okay, and that is a residential in nature?
Yeah, it is. There's a 25-foot sideline setback required for habitable structures, and it's approximately 10 feet.
Ask a question, please.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to.
So the bathroom's already there,
I don't,
Yeah, there was a.
yeah, there was a bathroom there before.
and it has the approved septic system for that size? It's approved by the
That's what I
town?
understand, it was used as when we bought the house, that we understood it had been used for the caregiver, for the woman
Okay.
who lived in the house. And it had her bathroom, and she had a rudimentary kitchen.
Okay, so how long have you owned the property? It may be in here, but I just don't know. How
How long
long?
have I owned it?
Yeah.
We moved here in 1994.
So in '94, the bathroom was still there, was there,
Oh, yes.
and it had a septic system? Yes?
We assume it did,
You
yeah.
assume
it did.
Yeah,
I mean, it was always there. No
Yeah,
one
the
ever
septic
told
would
us
have been
anything
inspected when
different.
they bought it.
yeah.
Okay, because that was before?
No, it's not, no, yeah, I mean, it's, Title V was applicable. It would have required a septic system inspection in 1994.
Okay.
The design requirements were different in 1994, but the
The only
inspection.
thing I'm interested in is, first, now I know that the bathroom was already there.
Right.
This is not new construction.
Right.
And all you want to do is add a dormer so you have more headroom in the bathroom. And I'm just interested whether or not the septic system conforms, that's all.
Yeah, and I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, but I do know that this plan, in order to pull this building permit, this plan will have to go to the Board of Health for a review of the floor plan and the septic calculation at that point, so.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jallo.
If I may, with apologies, introduce that also, Town Building Inspector Tom Evers is with us here, and since we're talking about building permits and things, I wanted to acknowledge his presence. Beth, questions?
When you moved the cottage onto the property, was there a basement put under it?
Oh, yes.
So it's year-round use?
Oh, yes.
And it has its own septic system?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And is it rented out year-round, or is it for family
No,
use?
one of my sons lives there.
Excuse me?
One of my sons lives there.
Okay, so he lives there year-round?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Michael?
I don't have any questions. I understand that the dormer does not increase the height or elevation of the building in which the dormer will be installed. That is correct.
That is correct, yes.
Fine. I don't have any questions.
All right, thank you. And I don't either. Let's see, in that case, is there anyone in the room who would wish to speak in favor of this project, other than the applicant? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Okay, hearing none. I think, should we poll before we close the public hearing? I'm trying to think procedurally, that.
Thank you, Mr.
Sequentially, that would be.
McCarthy. Yes, thank you.
Okay, Peter?
I vote to approve it.
Okay. Beth?
I guess originally when I read it, it concerned me that when you put the cottage on, that you had to lose the use of the space for the second dwelling. But the regulations have changed so that an accessory dwelling can be put in on 40,000 square feet, so you would still have that, so it would be an agreement.
Thank you.
And Michael?
No, I'm in favor of this application.
Okay, as am I. So with that, I think I'll close the public hearing to discussion, and I think any discussion among we've already sort of done it, but
Yep.
no further discussion?
Good.
Okay. In that case, do I hear a motion to approve the application?
So moved?
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. And any discussion on the motion? Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, 4-0. We will take care of the decision
Sure.
preparation after the fact.
And thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Send me the decision for record it, send it to you.
Wait, say that again.
You can get your building permit application ready to put in any time.
Oh, okay, I'll talk to that, well, Alan.
Okay, okay. Okay, thanks. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, we'll let the record reflect that member Matthew Cole has rejoined the meeting, and we now have 5 members present, with Chairman Marnick present by telephone. Are we... This is the Eaton case, then I...
Agway.
Agway.
Okay. I didn't see your name
You're
on that
all
one
day.
initially, that's why I was...
I'm sorry, it wasn't, yeah.
Only reason.
I'm sorry.
I hesitated because I know you're on...
He's everywhere.
I just show up for all of them, yeah,
Okay.
I have nothing else to do.
A good night for you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a hearing in case number 2047, application of Agway of Cape Cod. It's applied for a special permit as set forth in Master and Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 9, under Orleans zoning bylaw, Section 164-13, to reconfigure existing space for additional retail use. The property is located at 20 Lots Hollow Road, Orleans, map number 40, parcel number 121. Seating or participating in this hearing are members Beth McCartney, Matthew Cole, Peter Jablon, and Chairman Michael Marnick by telephone, and myself. If I can first ask, any members of the board disqualified by reason of a conflict of interest prohibited by law? And have any members of the board communicated with the applicant or any interested parties? Hearing none as to either question, I think we can proceed. Mr. Zinder?
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Again, my name is Ben Zender, and I'm here with a number of people. To my left is Josh Weil, who's the manager of the Agway in Orleans. Peter and Susan Weil behind me. and also Griffin Bowden and Rick Cadignani, and I may have pronounced that wrong, but they're the professionals who have done the design work for this. This property is in a general business district, and retail sales are permitted as of right. However, as you all know, footnote 4 of your use table requires a special permit when you have over 2,500 square feet of area in commercial use. And so the proposal here is to reconfigure the retail sales area and storage areas, which requires coming back to this board for a special permit. The property already enjoys a special permit for the use for agricultural and feed sales and landscaping supply sales, and a second special permit for outside display. So it's been before this board twice in 1993, and I'm going to ask Josh to just describe to you very briefly what the proposed changes to the building are, so that you can understand them, if you don't mind. And I think we have some plans to show you. So.
It's colored.
This is the building here. This is the main store. There was a loading dock here that we removed and put to the rear of the property. The loading dock here was in the middle of the parking lot, and it ran into some traffic flow problems with customers. What we wanted to, this green space here and this space here is all warehouse currently. Instead of adding on to the existing showroom, we would like to move into part of the warehouse and make that retail, this green area. With the loading dock now gone, we have made a porch here, a nice display area that we would like to get put use for retail as well and display.
Okay. So what one would see pulling into your lot, as I do on occasion, what's done is under permits already secured, obtained, I guess.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. And
But we want to be able, we have not gotten the special permit to use this as retail space. Right now it's
okay.
just protecting cement from rain.
In other words, excavation and everything else that had to occur in front of that space, correct?
For the loading dock purpose?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Beth, any questions?
Fine by me.
Fine, okay.
Josh, no change to the other structure in yellow?
Oh,
The other is
The other
outside.
building, whatever it is. the
Oh, this is
roof.
the
Pergola.
pergola arbor that is currently, I think it's okayed for,
It's a semi-protected area that they have outdoor display of materials
we use
per
it
bath.
for displaying
Yeah.
pottery right now.
Right, but there's no change to that.
No, that is, yeah. It's just currently for retail use, so currently zoned for retail and retail.
Thank you.
The green then being the proposed.
Correct.
Expansion of retail area, which that's why we're here, because they're expanding the area in retail use. So.
Peter, or Matt, did you have more?
No, I'm
No,
good.
no, thank you.
Good.
Okay. I have no questions. Is there any members of the public who would like to speak in favor of this application? Any members who are here to speak in opposition? Okay, hearing none. Oh, I'm sorry, Michael, pardon me.
No, I have no questions.
No questions? Thank you.
Nope.
Any discussion among us before we close the public hearing? All right, in that case, I will declare the public hearing closed and, pardon me, I guess I will entertain a motion, if that's
I move we approve.
Beth,
Second.
Peter, second. Any discussion on the motion? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Uh,
The motion carries unanimously, 5-0.
All set.
Set.
I'm not sure who they'll mail the decision back to, because that's probably the application. If you get it, just give me a call, we can record it. Okay, thanks, Josh. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Good luck.
Do you want your plans back?
crowd for this.
I'd love to be able to do 3.5 an hour. That would be great. Dinner.
I will now call our third and final case for this evening, case number 2048, the application of Norman C. and Susan D. Eaton, having applied for a special permit as set forth in Mass General Laws, section, Chapter 40A, Section 6, under, excuse me, zoning, Orleans zoning bylaw, sections 164-21, parens A, and 164-21, parens C, to alter a pre-existing dwelling which is non-conforming with respect to lot size, frontage, and yard, and coastal bank setbacks. The property is located at 88 Tonsett Road, Orleans, map number 34, parcel number 41. Any members of the board disqualified by reason of a conflict of interest prohibited by law? No, very good. Have any members of the board communicated with the applicant or any interested parties?
No?
Hearing none, I think we'll proceed. Mr. Zinder?
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy, and hello again to everybody. This is I hate to use the word garden variety because nothing is garden variety, but this is a more typical alteration of a residential structure on a non-conforming lot, non-conforming structure. And I'd like to, if you don't mind, Mr. McCarthy, just submit for the file a copy of the minutes of the January 17 Conservation Commission approving the matter. We don't have the order of conditions reported yet, so I don't have that for the file. But I do have a copy of the minutes of the approval by the Conservation Commission.
Okay.
There that goes.
Thank you.
This is a slightly unusual lot. It has no frontage. We don't normally see this. No frontage. But it has no frontage, which is okay. You know, based on the assessor's records, the structure was built in 1938, which is well prior to zoning, and so it would certainly qualify as a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The proposal here is to remodel the existing three-bedroom house in its same location, put a dormer on the water side of the house, remove one of the bedrooms, and then have a roofed walkway connecting to a proposed garage with one bedroom above. So it'll remain a three-bedroom project overall. And you have elevations and plans for both structures. Just very briefly, we have some numbers on the project. The existing total lot coverage in the project is 1,265 square feet for a lot coverage of 6.2%. The proposal will be a total of 1,797 for a total of 8.8%, which is well below the 15% requirement in Eastham. I'm sorry, Orleans. I should know that by now tonight. I'm sorry. I don't even know why I said Eastham. It just kind of flew out of my mouth. So you have the floor plans. You have the elevations. I'll answer any questions. I hope I can answer questions that you have, but there's nothing remarkable about the project, either from a legal standpoint or from a site condition standpoint. So any questions you have, I'd love to try to answer.
Do you have the floor plans, house plans?
Yeah, the floor plan should have been submitted with the application. Did you not receive them? They were.
I got the proposed, but I don't have the existing.
Yeah, the engineer.
Is it else?
Yeah, I had thought that the engineer provided us with an unusual existing floor plan, which I can circulate. But I don't quite understand it. He took the proposed floor plan and made an outline sketch of the existing floor plan, which I don't quite understand what's happening there. So I understand that the let me take that if you want. I looked at that myself and didn't quite understand what the nature of the existing floor plan was. But I do understand that the outline of the house, if you look at the proposed floor plan, it actually outlines the new areas of the house on the first floor plan here. And it outlines with walls, the new walls that are being put in. So I understand that the house itself is exactly the same configuration physically on the lot.
I don't see a plan for the second floor of the garage or the covered walkway.
Yeah, let me see what I have here. The garage plan has a base plan for the garage, and let me see the second page. The garage plan G2. There should be a plan G2 that was submitted that you all have. Hold on a second.
I don't have any G plans.
Okay.
A plans.
I'm sorry. I can circulate the garage plan G2, and I can submit copies for the board. Do you have a G1 plan? My apologies to the board.
I think your G1 may be reflected on our A1A.
Yeah, well,
We do have a ground floor of the garage.
right, new master bedroom.
Does that show the walkway into the house on that one?
Yeah, do you have A1A? Yeah, I just see the outline of it.
Yeah.
I don't see.
Yeah, it says it has a new covered walkway outline there, and then on the elevations, I don't believe it's shown on the elevations. But I have a G1 plan here that I can circulate to the board for the file, which a G2 plan and a G1 which shows bedroom and kitchen dining plan for the garage, which I can make a part of the record if the board wants.
And do you have a septic plan? Is it a 4-bedroom septic?
It's a 3-bedroom septic, and there's no change in the number of bedrooms. I believe it's just, it requires an inspection.
You would take it from a 3 to a 2 in the existing?
Well, the site plan is showing that they're taking the existing dwelling and they're going from 3 bedrooms to 2 bedrooms, and then they're picking up that 3rd bedroom above the garage. So,
And the study is not considered a bedroom?
that's going to be up to the Board of Health. I mean, they're going to have to look at it and determine whether or not it meets the requirements for a bedroom. So I would ask that,
Yeah, that was my concern.
I would ask that the board approves it, that you approve it subject to the Board of Health's approval of the bedroom count.
The second floor of the garage seems to indicate a kitchenette, which would make this essentially a two-family structure, which wouldn't.
They can't have that. Yeah, I saw that in the plan. I would ask that if the board approves this, that you would have a condition that it not be a separate dwelling, that there be no kitchen facilities in the garage. You can certainly have a dining area, but you can't have cooking facilities up there. And I can certainly alter that plan if the board wants for submission.
I guess my concern is with the 27,000 square feet and no road frontage. They're sort of pushing the envelope. And they're taking a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house and making it a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. And they're making it a second dwelling, and they don't have enough land.
Okay.
Need something.
Yeah, can I have that one? Yeah, right there.
Yep.
Just
The
at that
whole
page.
idea of connecting
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
walkway
yeah.
is that it does become part of the house, takes on the setbacks of a single-family house.
Yeah.
It does say in our thing, permanent roof and floor that connects the house and the garage, makes it one structure.
Okay, that's what
They
I,
would be allowed to have a bedroom in there.
okay.
But they can't have a
Can't have
kitchen.
the kitchen.
They can't have the kitchen, and that slipped by. I didn't note that.
Can't have two kitchens.
You
Because
can't.
it makes it a
There's nothing in
duplex.
the zoning bylaws says you don't, in Orleans zoning bylaws says you can't have 2 kitchens.
Well, it says that you need 80,000 feet for a duplex.
Yeah, but there's, some towns do have specific bylaws that say that you cannot have 2 kitchens. There's nothing in the Orleans bylaw that says that. There are some very large houses that have gone up in town that have 2 full kitchens in them.
It's a
Entertainment kitchen, a kitchen upstairs, kitchen in the basement.
summer kitchen, winter
Kitchen
kitchen.
by the pool, kitchen by the...
Sometimes those, that's
Yeah.
controlled by deed restrictions. But there is nothing that actually specifically.
Well, the
says
kitchen
you
to me
can't.
makes it a 2-family.
I agree with the building inspector, but I kind of disagree at the same time. It's not uncommon, or it's not common to have a second kitchen in a home, but it does happen that people have, again, you have a downstairs cooking facilities to heat something up or whatever, but typically our at least informal approach to zoning is that it's the kitchen that makes it a dwelling, because, you don't specifically define a dwelling as having a kitchen, but it's understood by most zoning boards, most building commissioners, that that's what allows a separate family unit to reside in an area, is the cooking facility, so.
Does it show a full kitchen?
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
seen that.
It just shows like a 4-burner cooktop, and it's,
Yeah,
Well,
Doesn't have an oven?
something, I mean, I haven't even seen that plan.
Yeah.
So I was
So-
never presented.
it wasn't even in our package, so.
yeah, and I apologize for that. I thought that all those plans were there, but I can certainly either accept a condition that there be no cooking facilities, or I can alter that plan and remove that and initial that change in the plan so that there is no perception that you're approving a second dwelling.
Just wondering if the definition of dwelling, what else might be sort of part and parcel as I flip over.
It's really just, historically, it's just a unit that's capable of supporting independent living. But I'm going to pull up the definitions and see if the Orleans definitions are different from what my understanding is, so.
So I think on the covered walkway, my concern is that the geometry doesn't work well, and that if we approve this, they build the two structures, and then they come back and say, well, it was too hard to make the geometry work out, we can't connect them, then we're gonna end up with two separate dwellings, and
Well, we can certainly, I think the walkway is probably integral to the approval. If the board approves this with the walkway, you can't remove the walkway. Are you concerned?
it's the covering. You can build a walkway very easily.
Right.
It's the covering, that the roof geometry, I don't see how it can physically work the way that they have it drawn, in part because I'm left to my imagination because it's not on the plan.
Okay. Okay, so,
Some way the garage could be attached and just move it forward?
Well, they've effectively shown it as being attached, but they've got this L.
I know, but can they eliminate the part that's parallel going down to the water and move it up closer? I mean, why have a detached garage? I want to go directly from my garage into my house.
Maybe just the
Unless your
site.
tenant's loud over the garage.
well, there's also, if you look at the site plan, you can see the 50-foot buffer zone. I would imagine that you're not allowed to have the new construction within the 50-foot buffer zone. So the reason for moving this garage back
Okay.
is to, because I'm looking at the corner of the garage exactly at the 50-foot. And again, I wasn't involved in the conservation determination, but my guess is that's what's happening here, is to do that, so.
Condition of no kitchen facilities, ameliorate your concern about in case they didn't complete the.
Doesn't really resolve the walkway, the covering of the walkway.
Well, I have to say, I don't really believe, and again, I'll rely on the building inspector's interpretation, I don't believe that you're required to have a habitable space connected. You can certainly have a studio or other living space over a garage that's not dwelling space.
Well, it's been in the past,
Yeah.
from my predecessor, because the definition of a guest house clearly states that it's sleeping and toilet facilities.
Mhm.
That decision was made long before I became building commissioner, but that would constitute, or may constitute, a dwelling unit.
Okay. So we need the connection.
Are you able to hear this?
Yes.
I know my limited experience is that where the requirement of removal of kitchen facilities from the second structure was what allowed the construction of another primary dwelling, provided that the kitchen came out of the original. But any thoughts are certainly appreciated.
No, I don't see any problem with the way it's been described in this, for this renovation.
Okay.
One other note.
And the way I understand it, the kitchen is a cooktop, and I've seen this firsthand in a number of locations, principally in South Orleans, and it really doesn't disturb me at all, though.
Okay.
I understand
One more time.
the fine line between that and then what would be considered to be separate living accommodation, but in the scheme of things, this project, I'm not concerned about it.
All righty, thank you. Bathroom, we don't know detail of the garage.
Sorry, you gave that back to me. It's on the second sheet.
It's on page 2, going on page 3 of the conservation order is the description.
Mr. Zinn, can I just ask, in terms of the site, and it's for my own orientation, when I drove
Right.
up there, the structure that's to the left, if you're facing the front of number 88, separate dwelling, it's to the left of where all the wooden stakes, limits of construction and things like that.
Yep.
Is that number 90, or is that a different?
I don't know what the number of that house is, but it's not part of this property. It's
So
a, it's a
parcel
separate property.
40, for lack of,
Yeah.
to clarify?
You're talking about, this would be to the
the
east. To the
Okay.
east would be to the right-hand side facing the water.
Which makes it to the west.
Right. As you come up from Tonsit, you ultimately face 88,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the structure to the left.
To the left, I'm sorry, yeah, to the west, okay. I believe that's a separate property.
So that's the parcel
86.
40.
Yeah, parcel 40.
So is the coastal bank then what contributes to a lot of the lot area of the parcel, such that it had a small percentage of coverage?
Yes, because the lot area calculation is, and again, I'm trying to see what Mr. Brady did in terms of calculating his lot area, but typically they don't include any lot area below the coastal bank. Sometimes the engineers will do it above a certain line, like the 12-foot elevation. I don't know exactly how they calculated the lot area here.
Okay. Visually, the first impression is it's a pretty small.
Yeah, it is a small lot, but it may well be that the ownership of this land extends. It may well be the ownership of this land extends out beyond the top of the coastal bank, and it probably does. I have the deed right here. I can look at the description very quickly. Yeah, it extends to the edge, actually, it extends to the edge of the bank of the town cove, and then continuing by the same course of the waters of town cove to the low water mark. So the lot is probably significantly larger than what you're seeing on the site plan, although typically the engineers will not use that lowland as part of the lot calculation for lot coverage purposes. So, but, he may have, given that we have 6.8 and 8%, he may well have used more than the land to the top of the coastal bank for that calculation.
Okay. Beth, questions?
Well, I guess we should have a determination from the Board of Health about, they've just basically taken one of the bedrooms and written in study, and saying they've now got a 3-bedroom house.
They're removing a wall to
But it had doors, I thought.
try to, the Board of Health will look at that, make a determination on whether it's a bedroom or not. If they remove the wall and create a cased opening, very often that's the way that the health department will consider it not a bedroom.
I got it.
The Board of Health is not going to look at what it's called. You can call it whatever you want. They're going to look to see whether it has 70 square feet of
privacy.
floor area, has ceiling height, and has
Yeah.
privacy.
And to me, it does.
Typically, as I think the building inspector just said, if you put a cased opening of at least 6 feet going into a room, it doesn't afford the degree of privacy necessary for them to call it a bedroom. So that's just the way that they do it in every town. So, and to go back, this property is not they're not going to get a building permit if the health agent determines that it exceeds the bedroom count that's allowed under its flow, and the flow here is 330 gallons per day. So.
Matt?
So the Conservation Commission approval was based upon a different site plan dated December 21st. Do we have a copy of that?
I have a copy of that, I believe. I think I can show the board that.
Their approval refers to a walkway, but it doesn't refer to any covered walkway.
I'm just going to pull up that conservation and see what the date is. And you certainly can't build a covered walkway without conservation approval within the 50 there.
So their description is new garage, dormer addition. deck,
Walkway.
Walkway.
Right.
Installation of a new Title V septic system.
Revised at 12/21/16. Let me just see if I have that plan. I may not have that. And I can certainly, if the board wants, I can continue this and provide that plan for the board as well, so that you understand exactly what you're dealing with.
Excuse me?
I can certainly, if the board wants, I can,
I guess I'm just questioning the applicant's commitment to building that covering, and that for us is
I think
necessary to grant the
understood.
second story of the garage.
Yeah, and look, if you approve this plan showing the walkway and condition it upon it's the construction and maintenance of the walkway is required for continued occupancy of the house, I don't think they can pull a building permit to build other than that. So what I can answer right now is whether or not the Conservation Commission approval, because I'm looking to see if I have that plan, is whether or not it includes that walkway. And I know you all are busy, but I'm just going to flip through my plans to see if I have a copy of that plan.
Correct, was the existing garage already down?
Excuse me?
The existing
don't know.
garage already demoed? I saw the stakes that looked like it would be in the area of where the,
I have the plan here for revised 12/21. Yeah, this is the plan dated 12/21/16, mitigation plannings. It has the updated, and I'll present this, and this does show the covered, shows the roof of the walkway. And I'm going to assume for the purpose of the presentation, this is the plan the board's referring to, but this has the revised 12/21. It looks like they've made some additions to the plan to address conservation requests.
you know, my visual memory correct that the existing garage is
I see, okay.
down?
I don't know whether it's been torn. I haven't been to the site. I don't know whether it's down or not, but it's one of the, it is actually, it's to be removed as a part of the project. It's going to have to be removed for the Conservation Commission's approval of this new area is part and parcel is removing the old garage. So it may well have been removed already.
Tom, would that, just as curiosity, would that require a application for a permit?
They would need to pull a permit to demolish the garage. Now, it may have been done while I was out. I can't say if it's down or not. I haven't been to the site, so I don't know if it's still there or not.
I'm just,
But it would require a permit to remove the garage.
because there are now a lot of stakes up saying, you know, limit of construction and we're seeing a second structure other than the original house structure. That's
I
why.
haven't been to the site.
Yeah, the plan is showing some fairly significant trees and shrubs as you come in, so it may have been screened, but I have not been out to the site to see, Mr. McCarthy, whether it's there still or not.
Okay.
I would have thought that the removal of that would have been part and parcel of the construction job. Usually people don't just go tear down, except maybe they did, but normally they don't, so.
Yeah, and I could be completely wrong.
So in short, I do believe, Mr. Cole, that I do believe that conservation approval does contemplate a covered walk.
Yeah, I'm comfortable now seeing that refers to a covered walkway.
Okay. Peter?
I'm pretty much good. My thoughts are that this would warrant approval, subject to the town's approval of the correct Title V septic based on the number of bedrooms that they finally agree upon after it's inspected by the appropriate parties, and no kitchen and garage, and the covered walkway in conformity with the requirements for maintaining a contiguous single-family dwelling. As long as they have the proper septic systems, no kitchen in the garage, and cover that walkway as appropriate, I'm good.
Thank you.
Michael?
No, I don't have anything to say.
Okay. It shortens my notes.
Never tell having a little trouble hearing what Peter was saying.
Want me to repeat it?
I still can't, it still has
It,
kind of blurry.
in essence, Michael, I think Peter said he would be inclined to support approval provided that there was a correct Title V approval corresponding to the plans so that the number of bedrooms corresponded to what the Title V approval would be. Also, no kitchen in the garage structure to be rebuilt, and that the covered walkway linking the main dwelling to the garage would be constructed as appropriate.
What does he have to say about that?
I think all of those conditions are fine, Mr. Marnick.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Did I ask you?
I agree.
Okay. I don't have any particular questions. I support the comments and conditions of my colleagues. We can forego asking if anyone's here in support or opposition, since there's no one else in the room.
Well, I would know that. I would know that, Billy.
Right. For the chairman's confirmation, we'll note that other than Mr. Zender and Mr. Evers, no one other than members of the board are present.
Very well.
And with that, we can close the public hearing. Do we have to do that by motion? No, I just close as a rule. Okay. And then any discussion among the board that we haven't had already? No? Okay. In that case, I will entertain a motion.
I move we grant the special permit as requested by the applicant with 3 conditions as presented earlier.
Any discussion on the motion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Carries unanimously.
Thank you all again for your time. It's nice to see you all again.
Nice to see you. Michael, thank you minutes, are there minutes floating around that I saw?
There are
Peter
minutes
had 'em.
floating around. I don't know if everybody had a chance to read them.
Yes. Oh, dear.
Ben?
It is.
I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of
December 7th.
December 7th,
Last year.
2016.
Was I in attendance?
I don't know. I know they're floating around somewhere. You can check
Yeah.
them.
I gave them to Peter.
I don't know what I did with them.
Wasn't in one of the things I
They
gave.
look good to me.
They look fine to me. Of course, I wasn't here, but,
And everybody, thank you.
Good night.
Hey, take care
Good
of
night.
them.
Are they in one of these, right, Chance, too?
I have a plethora. Oh, I'll find you eventually.
What do, I'm trying to remember what we did that night, there wasn't much.
There's also the,
Oh, there they are.
yep, there you go. The ethics training too.
All right.
Just wanna mention
Michael,
this.
we've just retrieved the minutes, which I don't know if you've had a chance to look at by email,
What
but
did you say, the training?
that assumes they were circulated by
Ethics.
email.
Found an
Oh,
email
it has,
about
yeah, it
the-
has to do it online.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So a motion to
Online
approve and a
turn it
second?
Yep.
to the clerk.
So moved,
Put it in- No, by
I'll second.
April 1st.
All those in favor of approving the minutes of the meeting of December 7th, 2016?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Adopted. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, just one item, remotely I'm reminding everyone that we are compelled to take the ethics training periodically. I think I've done it now 3 or 4 times. So Sandy had circulated a memo to that effect. So,
Yes.
it might be nice if you are able to put that into the do-list.
By the end of April, if I recall?
Beginning of April, I think.
Beginning of April,
Yeah.
sorry. And Mr. Chairman, since you're experienced with that, one question I wonder if you can answer is the Is the president subject to that ethics training? Would seem to be in order, but I won't ask her to answer that. Couldn't resist.
So was there a motion to adjourn, or did I miss?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
I move.
Made.
Second?
All those ready?
Bye-bye.
Motion to vote to adjourn.
Take care, Michael.
Bye.
See you,
Bye,
Michael.
Michael.
Thank you.